Hi and welcome back to the Data to Value vlog series with Henrik. Today we're starting off with the first topic. We had the introduction, and now with the second vlog series here we have the first topic. Data literacy. Information as a second language. Information second language has been coined maybe last year or the year before by, I think, Gartner Research was the first to use that term, to really try to explain what we need to know as a business, as a company, on all levels, all people, in order to actually be able to go towards a data first, AI first type company. So, information as a second language, starting there. How long time does it take to really learn a language? Is it 5,000 hours? What vocabulary do you have when you start school? After maybe 2 or 3 years, they say maybe 5,000 words. When you finish school, year 11, 12, when you've done, I don't know, a lot of reading, interesting reading, you have a vocabulary with 50,000 words. So, how can we do this much faster? For me, what I thought I'd do, I put up a top 10 list, a classical YouTube top 10 list. What are the key topics that you really need to start wrapping your head around as a CEO, as a middle manager, to really get more into the game of what the future is all about? So, top 10 list, helping you pick out the topics that I think will help you sound like a pro, but also ultimately helps you start thinking on the core topics that will be the fundamental change that you need to drive to go to AI first, data first, if you're not already there. So, the way I'm going to do this top 10 list is not like, the lowest 10, the highest, most important one, but I will do it more like levels, like you're playing a video game. You need to do level 1 before you get to level 2. So this is more of an order, top 10 list. Study this, understand that, and move on. And I'm not going to teach you all this, of course, in detail. I will point you in the direction where you need to go. And ultimately, we will come back to a lot of these topics throughout the vlog series. We will actually deep dive into some of them. But the more you know about this, the faster, the better you will have it in your journey, data or AI first, in all facets of what you're doing right now. So this is my top 10 list. So number 1, you need to be able to understand what is the fundamentals of your information value chain. How does that look like? From raw material of data to however you are refining this into information, into insights, into decision and actions, processes. How does that work? How does that look like? If you don't have those fundamental ideas, you can't really talk about anything else. You're lost from the beginning. Level 2, you need to know the fundamentals of what are the core technologies that we are using in this information value chain. So there are technologies to help you with your raw data or in your core processes, your core applications, and then you move into how you ingest and take data together, how you store it, how you normalize it, how you do analytics on it, or maybe even how you do algorithmic processes on top. So what are the core technologies out there and what's their purpose? And if you don't have that understanding, you will start using a hammer for every single piece of your value chain, where you should use a hammer over here, you should use a screwdriver over here, and you should use something else over there. So these are the core technologies that you need to understand and map how they support this value chain. Level 3. Now, knowing level 1 and level 2, you need to start wrapping your head around the fundamentals around having an application-centric view of how you build processes and applications versus an information asset-centric view. And an information asset-centric view goes along with having a data platform or a digital platform to do this. In a nutshell, in an application-centric view, you take the front-end application functionality and then you really build the whole logic into that application stack. So that creates a silo. Now, if you want to merge more data and more data and more data, and in the end, we will have hundreds of use cases flowing from that same data, it doesn't make any sense to scale in terms of thousands of applications. So this is a really important concept to understand because it changes the whole game from traditional IT to what modern IT will be all about. Level 4. Now, let's talk about, in the context of this application-centric or information asset-centric, the fundamentals of information and data ownership. So you need to understand and learn about what is data ownership all about. How does it fit core raw data ownership, maybe belonging to a core process, compared to when I build a digital platform, I ingest data from many core processes to create a new service or a new report on top. So it's the distinction between raw data ownership in our core applications versus information ownership that actually covers the value chain that you're creating, sometimes as a second user of other people's data. If you don't wrap your head around that, you can't really start thinking around an information asset-centric approach because you don't have clarity on ownership of assets. Level 5, so all these levels are building on each other. So level 5, you need to start wrapping your head around all the concepts that can be summarized around the topics of information governance, information stewardship, information asset management, information architecture, and all the way out to the topic and concept of infonomics. Actually putting a price and moving your information assets onto your balance sheet. So taking an asset view on information really means that you don't have a digital platform by just having the technology. It's how you operate your information and your information assets that is ultimately makes up a data value chain, information value chain, or a digital platform strategy. Level 6, let's now move into analytics. So analytics, to really understand analytics, I think the starting point to wrap your head around analytics, if you're not schooled in it, or you've done mathematics or statistics in school, is to know the basic chain, how to go from descriptive reporting or a descriptive view to algorithmic process. So what I'm talking about is that logic. We talk about descriptive analysis. We talk about diagnostic analysis. We talk about predictive analysis. We talk about prescriptive analysis. And from prescriptive, going then from looking at the past, looking at what we can predict, to starting to prescribe or make decisions, we come all the way up to decision support, decision automation, algorithmic process. If you understand that core concept, it also means that we are moving data modeling to analytics modeling to decision modeling, from decision modeling to process modeling. So I'm sure all this is, to a lot of you, Greek, but you need to start digging into these topics. Otherwise, you're not really understanding what you're trying to build when you say AI first or data first. What is the prerequisite to have operational value out of AI first? You need to have all those steps lined up if you talk about having AI as part of your operational processes and your operational decision making. Now, what's the next level? Level 7. Fit for purpose analytics, I call it. So we follow the hype, yeah? So now every solution should be solved with ML, or now every solution or every problem should be solved with AI. That's not the case. We have different methodologies fitting for different business problems. So you need to really wrap your head around what is machine learning type analytics good for? When is it suited? So you really go for the most cost efficient, most effective way to come to an algorithmic process. It's that simple. If you don't know what you're doing, you're going to be back at, from an analytical point of view, I solve everything with a hammer. But this is a screw. Are you going to bang down the screw? Fit for purpose analytics. Learn what types of fundamentals, mathematical methodologies or statistical methodology is most fitting for the business problems that you're dealing with. Level 8. This is a broad topic, but I call it understanding the fundamentals of the new gen technologies, of the disruptive technologies. So you get bombarded as a CEO and middle managers, by people who want to sell to you or talk to you about all the new technologies, AI, blockchain, cognitive RPA. RPA is old. Cognitive is more flash. No code process development, AI-based microservices, virtual data lake, edge intelligence. So all these topics that I'm talking about is fitting into this value chain concept and are new and better ways to solve the problems that we're having or what we are needing to do in our value chain. But which one to use in our purpose? Which ones are mature? Get the fundamentals right on what you use AI for, what blockchain can do, what it can't do, and where it is on the maturity curve. So all these words, I say it again, AI, blockchain, cognitive RPA, no-code process development, API-based microservices, virtual data lake, edge intelligence. If you haven't heard it now or before yet, this is what's coming, right? And it's about understanding this to also better understand where we're going. Level 9, from business to analytics translation. It has all to do with data literacy, but it has also to do with connecting people with the domain expertise around the business problem with the people that has the competence around analytics, data science, and people who has competence around how to build a data pipeline, data engineers, and the people who knows the assets and information, like information stewards. All these come together to effectively work on the translation of a business problem to an analytics problem. And this is the number one challenge that you will meet in every single use case. It's the first one. If you can't explain your business problem in the analytical problem or the data problem, you haven't even started. And here is one of the biggest challenges. We have IT people, we have business people, not so many data scientists. So we don't even have all the right competences in the room to explain what the problem is in a way that it can be solved as an algorithmic process. So wrap your head around what this fundament of what is the process and approach to go from business problem to data analytics translation, core. Level 10. Okay. If you have understood all the 9 levels, if you have some sort of point of view of it, I'm not saying you're an expert, but I ask you to be conversational about these topics, then you will actually start understanding that level 10 is just a given. And I call this how to organize the operation roles and organization as a data first or AI first company. Very simply put, if you do all that and you take AI first, data first, you are in many ways operating like a software company. A software company, how do they operate their software? If it's a cloud service like Azure or Amazon's cloud or whatever, they work fundamentally with agile, they work cross-functional in terms of having all the right skills in the right team, and they work DevOps. A continuous 360 everyday production and development all the time. And that's the only way to do this. So what I'm talking about is understanding those core concepts of agile, cross-functional DevOps is core when you start thinking about how does my future company look like. So the traditional IT demand, IT supply model does not cut it. And to make it even worse, if you are a company working in a physical value chain, if you have a manufacturing setup or big assets or stuff like that, you need to merge these two cultures. You need to be 50% engineering company, 50% software company. So that's even sometimes tougher than to be pure data, like Google or Microsoft or someone that are software companies at the core. You need to merge these two cultures. So, my top 10 list. What do you think? Give feedback. Let's have a conversation out here. What would you tell your CEO? What are the key things you really need to know something about in order to do a job as a CEO to change this company? Let me hear your feedback. Subscribe, hang out with us. Let's move to data first, AI first. Have a nice one.